Customers duck for cover when gunshots ring out in an AutoZone parking lot.
He said he saw him standing over her with a gun.
The case takes a deadly turn, and soon investigators discover a connection between the suspect and the victim.
Put your hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. How many times did you shoot?
I shot once.
Let me ask you something. If someone asked you to describe a dangerous relationship, what would you picture? Probably something visible. A bruise, a police report, a restraining order, a pattern of documented incidents that, looking back, you could point to and say, there it was. That was the sign.
I seen him jump over that fence.
Were you here? Did you witness it?
No, I was across the street. I heard the shot go off.
So you didn't hear it? You weren't here during it?
No, I wasn't here.
Okay, and you were just around here though?
I was just getting off the bus right there. I heard the shot, and I seen him run. I seen him run, and he jumped over that gate, over that fence right there. He had white pants.
But what about a relationship where the danger was quieter than that? What about two young people, both in pain, both making choices that fed into each other's worst moments, where the line between volatility and violence was invisible right up until the moment it wasn't? That is what this case is asking you to sit with. Because on the morning of August 4th, 2025, in the parking lot of an AutoZone on Broadway Avenue in Bedford, Ohio, a 20-year-old woman named Riley Jones was shot once in the chest by the man she was in a relationship with. She was found unresponsive when officers arrived. She was rushed to South Point Hospital. She did not survive. Her best friend was sitting in Riley's car the entire time. She heard Riley scream her name before she fell. Every video covering this case focused on the interrogation footage, the ghost gun, the self-defense claim, the sentencing. Those things matter. But not one of them answered the question that Riley's cousin, Kenesha Jackson, asked out loud, on camera, 10 days after she buried her. What things do we look out for? What do these signs look like? That is the question we are going to try to answer. Let's get into it. Before we talk about that parking lot, before we talk about the argument, the gun, the ghost weapon, the plea deal, we need to talk about her. Riley Jones was 20 years old. She was from Shaker Heights, Ohio, one of the most well-known suburbs of Cleveland, a community with deep roots and a strong sense of identity. She was young, she was in the middle of her life. She had a sister who loved her. She had a cousin who loved her. She had a best friend who was sitting right there with her on the morning everything ended. And she had just survived one of the hardest things a young person can go through. Riley lost her mother less than a year before she died. Her sister spoke about it at sentencing, and what she said stopped that courtroom.
My name is Shatira, and I am Riley's sister. Riley was funny, loving, and deeply caring. She spent much of her life taking care of others, including our mother and grandmother before they passed. She was the youngest girl of my mother's children, and after my mother died, many of us, especially since I have no children of my own, began to see Riley as our own child. I witnessed her birth, and I never imagined I would one day speak about her death. She was helping to raise her nieces and nephews after the loss of their father, stepping into that role with love and responsibility. She also dreamed of pursuing a career in healthcare so she could continue to care for others. Her death has shattered not only our immediate family, but also her friends and our extended family. Riley was deeply loved, and her absence is felt by many people whose lives are now forever changed. We lost our mother just 1 year before Riley. This pain has been unbearable. I am unable to sleep because my mind is consumed with thoughts of Riley's final moments. Those thoughts follow me into the night and make it hard to function during the day. I am currently in therapy. She lost her life to someone she trusted, to someone who stood beside us and helped us carry our mother's body out of the church. That betrayal will stay with me forever. The person responsible for Riley's death did not just take her life. He took a sister, a daughter, an aunt, a friend, a pillar of our family. No sentence can bring Riley back, but I ask that this court recognize the full weight of what was taken and the lifelong pain that is left behind. She will miss seeing her nieces and nephews grow up, and she deserved a future. We will continue to say her name, and we will carry her with us always. Thank you.
Think about that. In the 12 months before August 4th, 2025, Riley Jones had already been through a grief that reshapes everything. She had already buried her mother. She had already sat in a church, already held her family, already tried to find her footing in a world that felt fundamentally different without the woman who raised her. And Darien Hobley was there for that. That is the detail Riley's sister put on the record at his sentencing. The detail that hit the hardest of anything said in that courtroom. She looked at him and said, "She lost her life to someone she trusted, to someone who stood beside us and helped us carry out her mother's body out of the church. That betrayal will stay with me forever." He carried her mother's casket. He knew this family in their most broken moment. He was trusted with their grief. And less than a year later, he put a bullet in Riley's chest in a parking lot and walked away to find his words a new scenery. That is who Riley Jones was. Not a case, not a victim profile. A 20-year-old woman from Shaker Heights who had already survived losing her mother and was trying to navigate a relationship that was pulling her in directions she may not have fully understood yet. Her cousin Kanisha Jackson said, "Her life was cut short like a flower that never really got to flourish." That is the sentence that stays with me. A flower that never got to flourish. 20 years old. And the person she trusted most in the world after losing her mother was the one who made sure of it. Now let me tell you about him, because his story matters too, not as an excuse, but as context for understanding how two people end up in a parking lot on a Monday morning at 10 a.m. with a ghost gun between them. Darien Hobley was 22 years old. He was from Maple Heights, Ohio, just a few miles from where Riley lived in Shaker Heights. He was young. He had plans. He told the officer who arrested him that he was supposed to join the military in October as an IT specialist. He had applied. He was waiting. He had a future mapped out that did not include any of this. And by every account, including his own mother's, the relationship between him and Riley was genuinely volatile. Not one-sided. Not simple. His mother, Tanya Combs, spoke before his sentencing. She said,
"To the Honorable Judge Holly Gallagher, my name is Tanya Combs. I'm the mother of Darien Hobley. I write this letter with a broken heart. I want to acknowledge the life that was lost. There are no words that can undo the loss. My heart aches for Riley Jones' family, and I pray for their strength and comfort during this unimaginable pain. My son has pleaded guilty and has accepted responsibility for his actions. As his mother, there is no greater pain to know your child has caused harm. I do not stand before the court and excuse what happened. I stand to speak about my son. I have known for 22 years. This was his first offense. He has never been in trouble before. He was working to build a future and plans to join the military for structured purpose and a chance to serve his country. At home, he also helped care for his special needs twin that is disabled. He also helped me at home. I have restrictions because of a back injury, and he also helped me to make sure that his brother's needs were met, and me as well. Since this tragedy, I have seen him crushed by the weight of what happened. I have heard the sorrow in his voice and him struggle with knowing a life was lost and will live with him for the rest of his life. He is not a monster. He is my son. A young man that made a devastating decision and is now facing the consequences of it. He is capable of remorse. He is capable of growth. He is capable of change. I respectfully ask the court to consider this. It's his first offense. He has taken responsibility, and he still has the ability to reflect, to grow. Even with whatever sentence the court believes is appropriate. No sentence will undo what has happened. I respectfully ask the court to consider who he has been his whole life, not only the worst decision he has ever made. He has a loving support system, his family, friends, and church family. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
She had been the one who called police on Riley before. She had watched Riley break his windshield. She had tried to get a restraining order and been told there was nothing she could do because her son lived there and would likely allow Riley to keep coming over. She had personally asked both of them, their families together, to leave each other alone, and they kept coming back to each other. That is not me excusing what Darien did. What he did is inexcusable. But it is me being honest with you about the full picture of this relationship, because that honesty is the only thing that gets us to the question Kanisha Jackson was really asking. What did these signs look like? Let me walk you through exactly what happened. And I want to be precise, because the sequence of events matters enormously in understanding how a Monday morning trip to get a car battery becomes a murder. Earlier that morning, Darien called Riley and hung up on her. That's where it starts. A phone call, a hang-up, something that small. Riley, who had already lost her mother less than a year before, who was navigating grief and a relationship that her family was worried about, went to his mother's house in Maple Heights looking for answers. She wanted to know why he hung up. She rang the doorbell. She was upset. Tanya Combs told her to leave. Darien came to the door and told her to leave. Riley eventually left. Darien then got in his car, a white Chevy Cobalt registered to his mother, and drove toward the AutoZone on Broadway Avenue in Bedford to get his battery checked. Riley followed him. According to his mother and multiple witnesses, Riley was driving erratically on Libby Road, getting close to his car, at one point trying to cut in between him and other vehicles in traffic. Her best friend was in the passenger seat of Riley's car the whole time. They both arrived at the AutoZone parking lot. Riley pulled in behind Darien's car, blocking him in. She got out. Surveillance video captured what happened next. Judge Holly Gallagher described it at sentencing. She said Riley appeared visibly upset as she approached his vehicle. They spoke through the window. Riley went back to her car, then returned to his car a second time, apparently because he had broken her phone again. And then, in the judge's own words, the door opens and she leans in the car, and within seconds, a shot's fired and she's on the ground. Within seconds, Riley's best friend, sitting in Riley's car just behind, heard a sound she described as barely like a gunshot, more like a firecracker, a BB gun, something that's small and ordinary. And then Riley fell backwards. No fight, no struggle. She just fell, and her best friend heard her scream her name. This is the part that tells you everything you need to know about what kind of decision this was.
You were with her the whole time?
Yeah, the whole entire time.
So what happened? Like what
they were just arguing. The argument just got to a point where
started over in Maple Heights. Okay.
And she said, "Pull over, let's talk." So eventually they ended up pulling over in AutoZone.
Okay.
She gets out the car.
She parked here?
No, she parked behind his car. I moved her car when she got out the car. No, I moved her car when I went to pull off, when I thought he was coming back out another time. Yeah, that's when I went to pull off.
So he went in AutoZone and out of AutoZone?
Yeah, he shot her,
went in, told him to call 911.
And then came back out.
And then came back out.
And then like tried to pick her up.
Oh, did he? I didn't see that. He came right up to her, which was right in the general direction of me, so I went back behind the car.
And that's why I ran into the car to pull off, because I'm like, oh, don't shoot me. Like, he already don't like me, so don't shoot me.
Right.
So, so when I pull off and I see that he's trying to pick her up and trying to help her, I pull the car back around, because I'm like, okay, maybe he's a little bit more sane right now. And I think when I heard the ambulance coming, that's when I pulled the car over here to get out of the way.
Right, okay, fair enough, yeah. So the interaction, you were sitting in the car right behind when he shot her?
Yeah.
What was going on during that time?
So she came back to the car, so she went to his car. They talked for about like 5 minutes. She came to her car, asked did I find her phone. I found her phone, I handed it to her. Phone is like done for, it doesn't work anymore. Right. And I handed it to her, and so I go back to she goes back to the car. I'm still sitting behind the seat. She said, you broke my phone again for the second time. And then, I don't know what happened in that little amount of time, but as he's getting out the car, I hear the gunshot. It didn't even sound like a gunshot. It sounded like a BB gun, like a firecracker, something like that. It didn't sound like a gunshot. So I'm like,
where was she standing when that happened?
Like, this is the door. This is his driver's side. This is him getting out the car. He shot her. She fell on her back.
She just pretty much fell back.
Yeah, she literally just fell back. She didn't even, like, there was no fight back, no nothing. She just fell back. I heard her scream my name, and as I was about to get out the car, I seen him walk back out of AutoZone. So I'm like, I don't want to get shot. So I pulled the car off.
He shot and went
in AutoZone.
He told them to go call the police.
After Riley fell to the ground in that parking lot, Darien Hobley did not stay with her. He walked into the AutoZone store and told the employees to call 911. Then he came back outside, stood over her briefly, and ran. He jumped over a fence at the back of the property. He was arrested less than a block away on Magnolia Avenue, still wearing the white pants and black zip-up jacket witnesses had described to police. He had blood on his right pant leg and the front of his shirt. When officers asked where the gun was, he told them he threw it in a sewer. They searched the sewers in the area and found it behind a nearby pizza shop. It was a Polymer 80, a ghost gun, a kit-style firearm with no serial number, illegal, untraceable, not registered to him. When they asked whose gun it was, he said it belonged to someone else. A 22-year-old man who was about to join the military was carrying an illegal ghost gun that did not belong to him. In his car, during an argument with his girlfriend, on a Monday morning. At sentencing, Judge Gallagher said something that deserves to be said in every school, in every conversation about young men and weapons. This is why people of Mr. Hobley's age shouldn't have a weapon, not because young people are inherently dangerous, but because a weapon in the presence of anger, grief, volatility, and unresolved conflict does not wait for the person holding it to make a rational decision. It closes the distance between a bad moment and a permanent outcome in seconds. Within seconds, the judge said. That is exactly how long it took. I want to be honest with you about his account, because this case is one where you deserve all of it, not just the parts that are easy to frame. Darien Hobley claimed self-defense from the beginning. He said Riley reached into his open car door, toward the center console where the gun was stored, and that he did not know what she was going to do. He said he fired because of the way she reached, because it was where the gun was, because he was in fear. He also acknowledged Riley had no weapon. He acknowledged she knew he had a gun. And he acknowledged he fired one shot, went inside, and left. The judge reviewed the surveillance footage. She described Riley leaning into the car through the open door. She said within seconds of that, a shot. Riley on the ground. Here is what the self-defense claim cannot account for. A person acting in genuine fear for their life does not walk into a store, tell employees to call 911, come back outside to look at the person they just shot, and then flee. They do not throw the weapon in a sewer and say they needed a new scenery. They do not tell the arresting officer they were planning to join the military next month, as if that proximity to a different future erases the choice they just made. He was charged with aggravated murder. He pleaded not guilty. He eventually accepted the plea deal. Guilty to involuntary manslaughter and tampering with evidence. The murder charge was dropped. At his February 2026 sentencing, Darien broke down in court. He said,
And she reached for it. Just got scared. I did what I heard. I tried to help her. I asked somebody to call 911. I tried to help. I didn't know what to do. And everything was so overwhelming. I walked away. I just needed a new scenery. So I walked away. And I thought to hurt myself. I made a bad decision and got rid of the gun, but it wasn't to avoid prosecution or indictment. It was just, I just didn't want to hurt myself. I thought Riley was going to be okay. I just thought to myself, if she's okay, maybe she will have something to say to me, whether it goes good or bad. Maybe she wanted questions. I just Never thought.
Judge Holly Gallagher sentenced him to a minimum of 8 years and a maximum of 10.5 in Ohio State Prison, plus 1 year for the firearm specification. He is currently serving that sentence at Lake Erie Correctional Institution. His expected release date is August 2033. He will be 30 years old. Riley Jones will be 20 forever. This is justice rewritten. We tell the stories that deserve to be told in full. If you are watching this and you have not subscribed yet, please do it right now. Every view on a story like Riley's tells the algorithm that her life matters. Hit subscribe. Let's keep going. Her cousin Kenesha Jackson spoke to reporters 10 days after the shooting. She said, "I feel like my tears are comforting me right now." She said she saw no red flags, no signs of possible domestic abuse. And then she asked the questions that have stayed with me since the first time I read them. What things do we look out for? What do these signs look like? Should we do a weekly check-in for each other? Find unique ways to check in. That is not the question of someone looking for blame. That is the question of someone who loved a person and is now trying to understand how you protect the people you love when the danger does not look like what you expect it to look like. Riley's sister stood in that courtroom with what she described as a broken heart. She said, "Her death has shattered not only our immediate family, but also her friends and our extended family. Riley was deeply loved, and her absence is felt by many people whose lives are now forever changed." And then she said the line that cut through everything else in that room, the line about the casket, about the church, about the man who stood beside them in their most broken moment, being the same man who broke them again less than a year later. That betrayal will stay with me forever. Every other video covering this case focused on the interrogation footage, the ghost gun, the sewer, the self-defense claim. All of that matters. But not one of them stopped to ask the question that this case is actually about. How do you love someone who is also dangerous to you? And how do you know the difference between a volatile relationship and a deadly one before it's too late? Because here is what we know about Riley Jones and Darien Hobley. There was real toxicity on both sides. She broke his windshield. She followed him in traffic. His own mother tried to get a restraining order. And yet, she was at his mother's house that morning asking why he hung up on her, not threatening him, not breaking things, asking a question. Kenesha Jackson said she saw no signs of domestic abuse, no red flags. And that is the most important piece of information in this entire case. Because what she is telling us, without using these exact words, is that the danger in this relationship was invisible to the people who loved Riley. It did not look like the danger we are trained to recognize. It did not announce itself with bruises or police reports. It looked like two young people in a messy, painful relationship who kept finding their way back to each other, even when everyone around them was telling them to stop. And one morning, it looked like a phone call and a hang-up and a drive to an AutoZone. And within seconds, it was over. When Kenesha asks what these signs look like, the honest answer is that sometimes they do not look like anything we are trained to see. Sometimes the danger is a gun in a center console that a girlfriend did not know was loaded. Sometimes it is an argument that has happened 100 times before suddenly going somewhere it has never gone. The sign in cases like this is the weapon itself. The presence of a gun in any relationship where arguments regularly escalate, even if those arguments have never turned physically violent before, is the sign. That is what the judge was saying. This is why people of Mr. Hobley's age shouldn't have a weapon actually means. The gun turned a bad moment into a permanent one. There are things this story is asking us to hear. The first, a volatile relationship is not always a visible one. Riley's family saw no red flags. Her cousin had no reason to believe Riley was in danger. And yet the conditions for violence existed in that relationship. A history of broken property, of chasing, of following, of arguments that escalated. And none of those conditions had a name until August 4th gave them one. We need better language for the space between toxic and dangerous, because right now, that space is where people die. The second, a ghost gun is not a neutral object. Darien Hobley was carrying an illegal, untraceable, serialist weapon that did not belong to him, in his car, every day, in the presence of a relationship that was already volatile. The judge said it plainly, and it deserves to be said again. When you are 22 years old and your relationship regularly escalates into property damage and car chases, a gun in your center console is not protection. It is a countdown. The third, the people left behind carry questions that convictions cannot answer. Darien Hobley will be out of prison at 30. He will have decades ahead of him. And Kenesha Jackson will still be asking what she should have looked for. Riley's sister will still be carrying the image of him at that church. That is the arithmetic of this case that no sentencing hearing can balance. The years Darien serves do not give Riley's family back the answers they needed before August 4th. They only confirm what happened after. Riley Jones was 20 years old. She was from Shaker Heights, Ohio. She had just lost her mother. She had a cousin who loved her enough to stand in front of cameras 10 days after her funeral and ask what she could have done differently. She had a sister who loved her enough to stand in a courtroom and say the hardest truth she has ever had to say, that the person who helped carry their mother's casket was the same person who took her sister. She had a best friend who was sitting in her car that morning and heard her scream. She asked why he hung up on her. She went to an AutoZone. She leaned into a car door, and within seconds, she was gone. Darien Hobley is at Lake Erie Correctional Institution. His release date is August 2033. And Riley Jones, 20 years old, from Shaker Heights, never got the chance to become whoever she was going to be on the other side of her grief. That flower never got to flourish. Rest in peace, Riley. This is justice rewritten. We stay until the full story is told. If this video moved you, subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If you or someone you know is in a relationship where you feel unsafe, please reach out. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24 hours a day at 1-800-799-7233 or text BEGIN to 88788. You do not have to wait for a visible sign. Your instinct is enough. If you or someone you know is struggling, call or text 988. Free, confidential, 24 hours a day.